Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and today we're going to be talking about the newly released Race Studio 3 analysis software. Now, it's been in beta for a while, and many of you may have actually used the videos that I produced about a year or so ago helping understand how to navigate the beta version of the software. But now it's out in full production. I wanted to be able to create a new 2022 clean version of the videos so we can actually have a look at how the software actually works. And so today we're going to have a look at a couple of things. Most importantly, in this first video, we're going to have a look at how to be able to first understand what the software is in terms of have I got the latest version, and then we're going to look at how to be able to get data into the particular analysis section itself. And then you'll see a series of tutorials that will follow that will talk about different versions and different ways of being able to use the features in the new software. So let's transition over here to the Race Studio 3 software itself. And the first thing is we want to be able to look for a few clues to be able to make sure we've got the latest software. Now, the first thing that I recommend everyone do to be able to know that is just to click on this little blue cloud, so to speak, here. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you what software is available to be able to download. If you haven't downloaded a version of Race Studio 3 for a while, you'll see that this is going to be available to download. It'll tell you what version's available, what you've got on your machine, and so what you want to be able to do is make sure you've got the latest version, which I have here. So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to see in relation to this new software. The second thing that you're going to see is this little icon up here that represents an opportunity to be able to log in. Now, as we go through the tutorials, you're going to see that logging in here is going to give you a series of new opportunities to be able to put some data in the cloud, so to speak, or to store it on the AIM servers so that you can pull it down at different places on different machines. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you can house all your data in the cloud. That's not what this will do. But for example, what it'll allow you to do is to be able to log or store some of your user profiles so you can create them on one machine and then use them very quickly on a different machine if you happen to be at the track, for example. And so we're going to look at that as we go through. So signing up and logging in is a super idea to be able to use this. The other thing is by logging in, you're going to get some more of the online features, which I'll show you in later tutorials, such as understanding the weather of the session in terms of where you're running, which is all now nicely built in to the software itself. The last thing that you're going to be able to look at to know if you've got the latest version is up here. You'll see this little icon, and this says Analysis, and this is the Race Studio 3 Analysis button that you'll use to be able to log in. Now, before we get there, one of the things I want to make sure that we emphasize is if you're somebody who wants to slowly transition from the older Race Studio 2 analysis software, the one that we've been using for years, all the way through to the latest one, you can actually do that to make sure that as you download data from your device, that it's available in both databases of the new software analysis and the older one. To do that, what you're going to do is you're going to click up here on this little icon of preferences. If you click on data download, what you're going to see is a lot of options. By the way, if you don't know what these are actually for, I'll put a link in the top right hand side that'll talk you through how to set these up to make sure that you've always got the data being housed and downloaded in the right place. But for the time being, what we're going to do for the purposes of Race Studio 3 analysis and using both 2 and 3 at the same time is to click up here on Advanced, go into the Use Race Studio 2 and 3. Both should be ticked. If they're not ticked on yours and you want to be able to slowly transition, I recommend that they're both ticked so you can make sure that if you're in a pinch and you don't want to learn a new feature on Race Studio 3 analysis and you just want that data at the track, you can still go back to what you know with the Race Studio 2 and slowly work through that. So once you've done that, you're ready to be able to go into the analysis software. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on the button itself and we're going to see a page that pops up that looks like this. Now, what this is showing is showing the information, and this is effectively your session database, your library of all the sessions that you want to be able to analyze or keep sort of archived so you can go in and reference them later. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this and how this works in the next video tutorial. But what I want to be able to do is to show you how to get the data into this actual library, so to speak, or in this case, the session database. Now, the first thing to note before we do anything here is if you download your data with Race Studio 3 today, For example, you've got an Evo 4S or an Evo 5, you've got an MXL, you've got any of these sort of newer, MXL2 I should say, any of the newer devices that use Race Studio 3 to download the data, then if you use a software that looks like this to download your data, then every time you do from this point forward, your data is going to be housed here in the library. If, however, you want to go and find the data that you've downloaded previously, you're going to want to be able to find that data on your hard drive or wherever you've stored it. And again, I'm going to go back to that video that we talked about earlier in terms of where do you store and log your data. And I'm going to add a link to an additional video up here, which is going to be able to tell you how to be able to manage your data files at AIM. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how to be able to bring that data in. And it's as simple as clicking on this cog icon here. If you click here, it's going to have the option here of import. If you click there, it's just going to ask you if you want to import files or if you want to be able to import folders. If you want to be able to import files, export the files you want to be able to import or know the files you want and just import them one by one. However, if you want to import a whole folder, if you click on import folder, it's going to give you a series of options to be able to download. So I'm going to give you some examples of how you want to be able to manage this potentially if you use AIM software and you just store it wherever it default goes. And so typically when you load your AIM software, it'll go to your C drive. You'll click here on AIM Sport, and in here you'll see some of the software that's been created on your machine, the stuff you've downloaded. So you've got GPS Manager if you still use that, Race Studio 2, which is the older software, Race Studio 3, which is the newer software, and I still have instances of Race Studio 3 Beta because I'm still curious and I play around with the beta software a little bit as well. But for the purposes of today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at where that data is housed. And so if you use the older software, if you double click in Race Studio 2, here you'll find a folder that says data. If you click there, select that folder, it will bring all that data in for you. Similarly, if you use Race Studio 3 to download your data, it's a little bit more buried, but if you click into Race Studio 3, scroll down until you find the area that says user, double click there, find the folder that says data, that's the folder, just click select folder and that will bring in those files as well. And what will happen is the Race Studio 3 analysis won't keep duplicating the files. As you start bringing the files, it'll remember what you've got and what you haven't got, so you don't double up and triple up. And so it's important to be able to know where that data is housed. Once you've done that, you will find that you have data that's available in your actual instance of Race Studio 3. And in the next tutorial, you're going to see how to be able to start navigating this page so you understand what it's telling you and how the features and benefits can really help you understand which files you want to have a look at. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think about each and every one of these tutorials so we can fine tune them. Stay tuned for the next tutorial, which should be coming up hopefully in the playlist straight after this one. And with that, I'll say thanks so much for watching this video.